you, Jessica, and welcome everyone to our English presentation. I am very excited you guys are here to join us. So today we're going to learn a little bit about what you can do with an English degree. I know there's a lot of questions out there on, what can I actually do once I graduate with this English degree? So we will be talking all about that. We will be discussing some requirements in order to graduate with an English degree, starting salary for some of the most popular careers after graduation, and other colleges that you can join once you graduate from BCC. At this time, I would like for the team to introduce themselves. So I will start with myself. My name is Joanna Torres, and I am an academic advisor with the ASAP program.
My name is Gerard Cole, and I am a student support specialist with the Cause Discovery Program and an English major from Binghamton University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Audrey Rose Glenn. I'm a senior academic advisor at the Academic Success Center.
Hello, everyone. My name is Latima Miller. I'm also an ASAP advisor at BCC.
Am I next?
Yes, Joseph.
I am Joseph Donica. I am the coordinator of the English major. I do want to say thank you to all of you for organizing this event.
Thank you. So without any further ado, we will pass it over to Joseph. He is one of the professors in the English department, and he will share the presentation with us. So just 1 second.
Yes, and while Joanna is doing that, thank you all for attending. Again, thank you, Joanna, and the advisement team for hosting this event. Joanna did mention a comment about what you can do with this major, and I think the beautiful thing about it is the answer is anything. But we're going to get into that in just a second. But first, let's start with a welcome from our chair, Kathleen Urda, Professor Kathleen Urda. She may be joining us a little bit later, but for now, we do have a video from her. So.
Hello, my name is Dr. Kathleen Urda, and I am the chair of the Boston College English Department. On behalf of our department and our major, I want to welcome you to the major and also thank you for your interest in it. I know today you're going to be learning a little bit more about the major, but I also want to say that you are more than welcome to contact me anytime at kathleen.urda@bcc.cuny.edu. Unfortunately, I can't invite you as I would in ordinary times to come and see me on the 6th floor of Colston Hall to talk more about the English major, but I want to invite you to ask for a Zoom meeting or for a phone call. I would be really excited to talk with you more about our department and all of our many and varied course offerings, as well as our faculty members and the activities that we offer through English Club, thesis, study abroad, and also just what it's like to be an English major and what kinds of opportunities can grow out of that. I was an English major when I was in college. I loved it. And I think that no matter what your interests are, whether you are somebody who is thinking about teaching, or you're thinking about journalism, or perhaps you're a poet or a writer of another kind, or you're just somebody who really loves to read and wants to know more about literature of various traditions and cultures, no matter what your interest is, I think an English major is a great choice. I think you're going to learn to read more effectively. You're going to learn how to write more effectively. And those are lessons, those are skills and knowledge that will stand you in wonderful stead no matter what your future holds. So I love our English major. I love our department. And I would love to talk to you further about both. Okay, good luck. And thank you again for your interest.
Let me just say two things really quickly there about what Kathleen said. First of all, yes, we are housed on the 6th floor of Colston Hall. Many of you may not know what Colston Hall is quite yet, but you will. In normal times, we have quite a warm and open department. Students are always sort of going in and out of faculty offices. And that's one of the beautiful things about BCC's English department is we just sort of have our doors open and students are always in there talking about papers or projects or transfer. And that really is part of the life of the department. And I hope you can experience that soon, you know, when all of this is fixed. So anyway, so let's go and talk a little bit about what it means to have an English degree from Bronx Community College and what it means to get one, like what it takes to get one. I don't want to like overburden you with like all the ins and outs of, you know, what the degree takes and what the degree requires. But let's, oh, I'm so sorry. Is my email dinging? Anyway, so if you hear dings, that's emails. It's probably English majors emailing me. Okay, so sorry. Anyway, just a couple of things though to talk about. The overall skills that an English major provides you, okay? There are a lot of perceptions of English majors, right? We just read and talk about poetry. Well, we do that a lot, but we do a lot of other things, and we prepare you for a lot of other fields. And these are some of the skills that we provide you, like strong verbal and writing skills. You will be required to present. You will be required to learn how to communicate much more effectively, right? You'll learn how to argue extremely effectively, right? A skill that is in high demand across fields, right? Of course, critical thinking skills, critical analysis, and different approaches to literature. There are many professors in the English department, and we all approach literature and our subject matter quite differently. And that's a really beautiful thing when we come together and talk about all the different ways of reading text. It's a very exciting thing about the English department, just the diversity of perspectives that we all bring to reading literature. Another skill is writing clear and fluent sentences that are well organized and grammatically correct. Not all of our classes are obsessed and focused on grammar and mechanics, but some of them are. And of course, as an English major, we expect you to really sharpen the way that you write. And we are there all the time to help you with that. So you will also demonstrate research skills using appropriate academic resources. This is one of the really maybe underrated aspects of English majors. It's just the intense research skills that they bring to whatever career they'll have after this major. We expect quite a bit of research out of you, but we also really walk you through the research process. And you're going to walk out of BCC and go into a job or go into a four-year program with a really high level ability to sort through a lot of information and find the best and most appropriate for it. And finally, just the diverse field of careers. We're going to talk about this a little bit in a second. But, you know, do you want to be a writer? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a professor? Do you want to be an editor, a lawyer, a community activist, an actor, a politician? English majors go into all of these fields every single year. So let's talk a little bit about the requirements. I'm going to speak very briefly about them, but I'm also going to put a link into the chat. This is our department page on the requirements, okay? There are quite a few requirements, you know, generally with, you know, throughout the college, you know, as far as, you know, physical science, flexible core and all that stuff, advisement, and then your faculty advisors are going to help walk you through all of that. But I do want to talk briefly about the actual English department requirements, okay? So we do have a requirement of English composition, and you are required to take English 110 or 111. And then you have an array of other composition courses that you can take. And they're all quite interesting. Some are writing about poetry, some are writing about fiction, some are writing about drama, okay? We do have a required course that's English 113. I'm sorry, a suggested course that's English 113. And that's sort of an introduction to literary criticism. The only other required course that you have in the major is English 155. It's an exciting course, it's an important course, and it's the course that's going to best prepare you to transfer as an English major. And what that course is Introduction to Literary Studies. But it's not just literary studies, it's really an introduction to literary criticism and theory. It's going to introduce you to all sorts of ways of reading text, and not just actual literary text, but all sorts of texts, cultural behaviors, fashion, architecture, right? And we go through all sorts of schools of thinking about text, such as critical race theory, queer theory, feminist theory, disability theory, and environmental theory. This is really the core class that's going to prepare you for study beyond BCC. Beyond that, so that's sort of the course that's going to give you your core skills for getting through the English major. But then you do have 12 credits of English elective courses. And we just have a couple of examples down here, like Latina literature, folklore, Black poetry. But we have an array of courses for you, from early American literature to contemporary American literature, British literature, Shakespeare, the Bible is literature, queer literature. We have quite a bit of course offerings for you, really, like any sort of literature that you're into, we provide it. And I think the thing that makes BCC's English department quite special is that we really offer more elective offerings than really like most community colleges out there in the country. So that's something exciting. That's something that we've really committed ourselves to, is giving our students quite an array. But we don't just have courses in studying literature, we have courses that will help you write it as well. So we do have a creative writing course that focuses on poetry and fiction, you writing poetry and fiction. We have a creative nonfiction course for those of you who are more inclined to sort of journalistic writing. And we have a couple of courses under development for students and their emerging interest in journalism. So if you're into it, we have it in our department. So, Joanna? Quickly, just a short video here for you, just about the multiple possibilities and the multiple personalities that English majors bring. Again, we're not a homogenous group. We have different ways of bringing our interests to bear on what we read, and students do as well. So take a look at this video.
Am I the only one that can't hear it?
I can't hear it either.
I also can't hear it.
Yeah.
Same here.
Oh, okay, well,
Do you share with the optimize for the video?
I'm not sure. Oh, sorry.
Joanna, are you sharing your computer audio? That may be also part of it.
I mean, you guys heard Kathleen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear it now?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
I'm an English major, but I'm loud and outgoing sometimes. I think they all assume that we're just kind of winging it and we have no real idea of what we're doing or what we want to do. They're like, oh, I'm gonna play bongo drums on the green and not and read poetry, and I'm just gonna do that for 4 years. Every field, no matter what it is, whether it's engineering or science, everyone needs an English major because everyone has to write. And for the most part, people who aren't English majors don't write very well.
In English classes, you're constantly running up against views that are different from your own. So you have to learn to back up your views and argue well and talk well with your classmates and your professors.
I know all of English professors tell you that you learn how to think critically, but that's not a joke. You actually do.
If you don't read something in your life, then you're missing out on a great way to learn new things and expand your world beyond what you live in.
The faculty and staff are characters, and I've just been inspired by them.
It's just really cool to have a friendship role with a professor. They can show you different job opportunities that you didn't think were available.
I've worked at the student newspaper since I got here. One of my English professors actually let me intern for a publication that he was running.
I actually am now sort of a federal grants writer and administrator. I get to basically tell a story, but not in the traditional way. I get to tell a story that's going to get us somewhere, which is great.
I'm an English major and I'm going to medical school. I'm an English major and I want to film. I want to work at an ad agency.
I'm an English major and I'm a game designer.
I'm an English major and I'm gonna have a job when I graduate.
Let me just before we talk about the money, let me just mention briefly. I too was an English major, but it's really interesting when I look back, and I graduated, over 15 years ago as an English major, but just to look back at my fellow English majors, and I think that video is interesting. I mean, I teach, I went that route. But I have fellow English majors who are now in law firms. I have fellow English majors who are now VPs of communications companies, right? I have English major, English majors that I went to school with who are in an array of fields. And I think that's the terror and beauty of the English major, right? We're going to give you a set of skills and we're going to give you as much guidance as you need, but that's the beauty, right? It really gives you this set of skills that a multitude of employers are looking for. So yes, let's talk about the money, right? Here are a few fields that English majors go into, and some of the current beginning. Do note these are beginning salaries, such as editor, 53, marketing associate. Let me say something actually about marketing associates. Many English majors go into advertising and marketing. And the important thing to note here is, as was mentioned in the video, companies of all sorts are looking for people who can really tell narratives, okay? Marketing is all about the narrative. And that's all we talk about in the English major, right? We slice and dice narratives, right? We ask you to come up with narratives. We ask you to analyze narratives. And that's something that's very, very attractive to those in marketing and advertising. So a reporter, a journalist, a high school English teacher, social media manager, paralegal, public relations manager, English professor, for the brave ones of you, and lawyer. So, and let me put a plug in there for law school. The English major is one of the top majors for those going into law school. And I do encourage any of you to really think about that. So next slide. And just so you know you're in good company, here's a video of some people you probably have heard of.
Can you guys hear it?
When you're 18, 22-year-olds are adults. And there are these 21 and 22-year-olds at Lampoon that said, you're funny and you have something. And that was a religious moment for me. And so I spent a lot of time working really hard on the Lampoon, and that, by the time I graduated, I remember thinking, I would like to try this for a year or two and see if I could do it. And that's still my attitude. You know,
You're seriously after school, aren't you? Very much. I mean, I always have been, but it's even when I was younger, I always knew that I would be going to college. It's never been any kind of Really? alternative, basically. So What are you studying? well, I'm a literature major, and that's basically all I'm thinking about right now. I'm reading a lot of books. Right.
When did you go back?
Oh, just something that I'm fascinated with as a pedestrian plebeian observer, and I just wanted to see if I had an aptitude for it. So I went and took some classes in college.
I love it.
If anybody's thinking about it, I highly recommend it because it's really different than when it's the perfunctory thing that you're supposed to do when you finish high school to make your parents happy. Right. Yeah, because now you kind of have an idea about what you're interested in and what you want to know more about. So when you go and study, it's not because you need to make a grade, but because you want to know.
Oh my God, I so.
And just a few others that that you may know of. John Legend, Toni Morrison, Reese Witherspoon, all of these. Also English majors. Again, just hitting home the point of the variety of careers that await you as an English major. And let me do emphasize some things that came from both of the videos. While I know we do emphasize like all of the skills that we are going to like instill in you and train you for to prepare you for a career, there's also just the joy of being the English major and getting lost in the literature, in the poetry, in the reading that you're going to be doing, in the different worlds and different experiences of people that you're going to be able to explore. There's also like just that enjoyment. So in my opinion, the English major sort of has it all. We're going to prepare you for the career, but you're going to have a lot of fun reading as well. So here's the, I mean, I feel like the English major sells itself. The BCC English major sells itself. And here's one of the big selling points. So I feel like I'm selling you a car, and this is just like, it's just like, and here's like the cherry on the top. Okay. So let me explain this a little bit. So articulation agreements. I know you may be like, what in the world is an articulation agreement? So here's what it is, basically. BCC, Bronx Community College, has partnered with other colleges in the New York area to ensure that when you are done with your AA degree in English, you are assured a place in a 4-year program somewhere in the city. So if you finish the credits for the English major, you maintain a certain GPA and make an appointment with me and we'll talk about all that, you're assured a spot in one of these colleges. So we have articulation agreements. The English department has an articulation agreement with both Iona College, which is just north of the city, just a short train ride away, as well as John Jay College. Many do not know that John Jay College of Criminal Justice is a full college. they don't just have criminal justice majors, they also have English majors. They have actually a really great English major. But I'm gonna put another link in the chat for you, okay? And this is the BCC transfer site that talks all about articulation agreements, and it talks about all of the agreements we have with colleges across the New York area. So while the English department specifically has these two agreements, the college has agreements with an array of different colleges across the city and even outside the city. Something really exciting to talk about, though, is that our English majors consistently transfer to colleges. Our English majors with appropriate GPAs with all of their credits get in places, right? I'm talking to BCC English major students who are graduating this May, who are transferring to City College, Hunter College, Baruch, Lehman College. A lot of our students go to Lehman, right? In fact, I just talked to a student on Monday who, I was trying to help her decide whether she should go to Hunter, City, Lehman, Baruch, or SUNY Albany, because she got into all of them, okay? And that is where you're going to be. You're going to be sitting there looking at like, oh, should I go to Hunter? Should I go to SUNY Albany, right? And that's really where we want to get you to be. So there are other couple of exciting developments here. BCC has also signed a general articulation agreement with Sarah Lawrence College, just north of the city. And I would be happy to sit down with any of you and talk about that agreement. So next, so we want our BCC English major graduates to end up, at the best place for them. And within CUNY, we have an embarrassment of riches of options for English majors, right? So we have many students that go to Hunter, Baruch, Brooklyn City, Lehman colleges. I'm not sure of any that have been to Queens College before, but this is obviously an option as well. So, and many of these programs have an array of offerings for students that want to study literature, that want to study poetry, or that also want to study creative writing, or they want to study journalism, or some combination of those. So the beauty of the situation is that you have so many options, and you have really willing, really warm, really open faculty that are going to sit down with you and work with you on all of these options. That's literally what my job is now. And I love it. I love students coming in, in their second or third year at BCC and saying, hey, it's time to transfer. And we just sit down, we look at all the application materials, and we sort of like shape their future with them. And that's really exciting. And that's what you're going to get as an English major at BCC. So if you have any more questions, again, I mentioned how warm, how open we are. And that's very much the culture of our department. If you have any more questions, please do reach out to Kathleen Urda. Her email is there, or me. My email is there as well. Please take that down now. And I do notice that our chair is in the meeting. I don't want to single you out, but did you want to say anything, Kathleen?
No, you gave a wonderful presentation, and I don't have too much to add aside from just encouraging anyone who's interested in English, as Dr. Donica said, please just reach out to one of us. I'm always really happy to set up, as I mentioned in the video, Zoom meetings. Hopefully we will be back on campus a little bit in the fall. And if we're allowed, I'm definitely going to try to hold some hours in my office or wherever they tell me to go that's purified in the right way. And I'm happy to meet with people at that point too, if that's possible. But, you know, I work over the summer as well. So I'm happy to talk with students during that period. And, you know, it doesn't have to be just about the major. It can be about any aspect of, you know, English or just chatting about your interests. I'm really happy to speak with students, and that's certainly the best part of, I think we all agree the best part of our jobs is actually getting to work with you as students. And so I'm overjoyed to be able to do that. So that's all I would like to say, I think. But happy to answer any questions now too.
Yeah, so shall we go to questions? Anyone have any questions? And anyone, prospective students, current students, faculty here, our brave and fearless advisors.
So we want to open this space for some questions. So please, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, or you can add them to the chat. If you're a little shy, you can always email Joseph and Kathleen. And I'm going to also put their emails in the chat. Or Joseph, can you add your email in the chat, please? Thank you.
Absolutely, I'll do that.
Okay, well, if there's no questions, I want to thank you guys for joining our presentation. Joseph, thank you so much for presenting. And yeah, guys, have an awesome Friday and a great weekend.
Thank you so
Great
much.
presentation. Great presentation.
Thank you, everyone. I hope to hear from you all soon.
Oh, there's a question.
Oh, wait,
Somebody-
Oh, we have a question. What obstacles do a person who enrolled English major have to face?
Ow. None. Like, English majors have no problems. Like, what are you talking about? We're not like business administration majors. No, I'm just kidding. I love my business administration. What obstacles? I will say this, and this might be a dodge. Kathleen, you might want to correct me here. This might be a dodge. I think the challenge is, and I will just speak as somebody who was an English major. The challenge is there was no defined career for me. There was no obvious career after the English major. Of course, yeah, I could go teach elementary school or high school English. Well, actually, I couldn't because I was an English major. I was an English education major, right? Or I could go to grad school in English, which I chose to do, and I love, and I've never looked back. But the challenge was designing my own future, designing my own career, right? Looking at this set of skills I was handed, this knowledge I was handed as an English major, and having to forge my own path from that, right? It was almost, it's sort of the challenge of too many options, almost. So Kathleen, what would you say the big challenge is?
I would agree with what you said, but I also think, you know, just as far as just challenges within an English program, I think when I look back, it was just, as a student, it was just kind of learning to write in a somewhat different way and learning to think critically. I mean, one of the required courses, for example, is our Introduction to Literary Studies. And so, you know, it's just like any major, you're going to be certainly taking skills you've had in the past or mastered in the past, but you're also kind of making a leap, right? And I think many people become English majors because they love reading or they love writing or maybe some combination thereof. And I think one of the things that was challenging for me, and I know for some students I've talked to, is just realizing, okay, I'm a good writer, you know, I think I'm a good writer, but I've got to learn a new way, or I've got to, you know, kind of grow a little bit in this way. And I think we often come in, you know, sort of feeling like I already know all that stuff, and just, you know, so sort of just being in that place where you realize, oh no, I've got, you know, I've got to learn this in a different way. And I know that was challenging for me, but also really fun. I mean, it was just, I do think I became an English major partially. I thought I was going to be an education major when I went into college. I wanted to teach high school, I thought initially, and obviously I ended up in a not dissimilar field. I'm still teaching, and but I didn't take any education classes ultimately because I just loved my English classes so much. I thought they were so interesting. They were so fun. I loved the other students. It was just so engaging and cool. And so that was why I became an English major. So, you know, it was challenging. It was a lot of work, but it was also, it was wonderful. And the opportunity to improve writing in particular, absolutely great. So, yeah.
Rhoda and Sidba Winden, we will get to you just quickly. I just want to comment on Kathleen there. A couple things she mentioned. We really have a special community amongst the students. They challenge each other, but they really help each other. And the beautiful thing is, you know, seeing majors come in, you know, they're taking your English 11 course, you know, and then in a year they're in your English 155, and just really see, you know, and the important thing here is like seeing these students develop as writers. I mean, you just see this massive change. Not that they're writing like us, not that, you know, they're you know, we're making them write in a certain way, but they are taking the skills we're teaching them and they're developing their own style. And that's a really beautiful thing I think happens. So Rhoda, you asked about the different avenues for professional writing. I mean, take your pick, right? I mean, going back to my own experience with like my fellow English majors, you know, they're in all sorts of writing fields. You know, some of them write, I mean, I have a fellow English major who writes for a trucking magazine. You know, I have several who have gone into all sorts of marketing fields. Again, I think marketing and advertising is sort of the secret of the English major. A lot of us end up, you know, on Madison Avenue, you know, euphorically. Not
euphorically too, yeah.
Euphemistically. Yeah, so I mean, there are all sorts of things. I mean, we also offer a technical writing class, right? I believe.
That's a class that I actually hate the title of, and we're working probably next year to change the title of it because I think it's sort of misleading. It sounds like you're going to be writing like for computer manuals or something, but the technical writing course that BCC offers is actually a professional writing class. So if you're interested in, you know, kind of learning better how to write for a particular profession, that's a class that we do have, and we offer it every semester. And, you know, we are actually talking right now about specifically thinking about embedding in our classes. This is still very early, so I don't want to say too much about it, but we're actually thinking about trying to embed in at least a couple of our classes opportunities for internships and things of that sort in various professional writing directions. So whether you're talking journalism or the publishing industry. So that's something we think about in these classes, but we haven't formalized yet, but we're working to potentially formalize that in the next couple of years. So those opportunities are definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah, and we are beginning to reach out to a lot of professional partners. You know, our students are, I mean, are not just our students, but specifically our English majors are interested in just such a wide variety of professions, and we're really trying to step up to meet that need. And that's exciting, and that actually, like, it's a challenge to us. We're like, okay, here's what our students want. All right, let's do this. Let's make that happen. Sidba Winden, I hope I'm saying that right. Of course, Rhoda. What are the scholarship opportunities in an English major? We have a lot. There are quite a few scholarship opportunities. I'll say this first, that most of our English majors who do transfer within CUNY. And we have world-class English four-year programs. I mean, just really unparalleled. But many transfer to SUNY schools, and many transfer to other schools that are outside of the city and outside of the state. But already with CUNY, they're paying, you'll be paying quite a low price, but there are so many scholarship opportunities. And what I do frequently is all of the English majors, you know, as soon as you're an English major or interested in English major, you're added to an email list, and I'm sending you scholarship opportunities quite frequently. You know, probably every semester I write 3, 4, 5 to 10, you know, letters for English majors for scholarship opportunities. There's some that are huge that are like, what's the big one? The Jack Cook Kent, I believe. It's like a 40,000 a year or something like that scholarship. But there are a lot of other smaller scholarships. There's a lot of money out there for you to study, and we will make sure that you are aware of all of those opportunities. And you know, we have many people on campus that can guide you in that direction. And let me say, in connection with that, you know, I mean, no matter what you major in, we do hope you major in English, but no matter what you major in, you will soon learn a very helpful person's name called Edwin Roman. And he will help you with all things transfer. Of course, professors in your department will help you as well, but also with a lot of the scholarship questions, right? So when you decide where it is you want to apply to transfer to, all of the scholarship questions will come up. And faculty will sit down and work with you through all of these questions. So. Kathleen, book or author changed your life?
Author, oh my goodness, that's such a hard question for an English professor, but actually just for anybody who loves to read, because I would say there are many, but probably, if I'm being honest, probably Jane Austen, because I read her really young, and that was actually my particular field is 18th century British lit, and Jane Austen was born in the late 18th century, and so she was the reason that I kind of got into that field of literature. So I would say, you know, on just a very literal level, that changed my life. That made me, you know, that's kind of what I do right now. That's my area of research. And so, but there are so many. I mean, I would say, you know, in another way, J.R.R. Tolkien, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And I think that book has just so much meaning for me. Those books have so much meaning for me and really got me through some tough times in my life. I mean, that's the thing about literature, you know, it really just and just stories generally, even if you're not somebody who loves to read, just, you know, just the stories that we know and we tell, you know, in our various cultures. And it's just that those things are so important, I think, just to, you know, both for memory and also for, as I said, getting you through times that are difficult, like the one we've all been going through, you know, this past year or so. I think, you know,
I would like to share.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jessica. I like your question. I love Paulo Coelho. Once I read The Alchemist, he just spoke to my soul. So I have all his books. I like his style of writing, and everything that he writes has like a deeper meaning, which you could connect to with your own life. So I really like him. And I love Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is gonna be a little corny, but honestly, I read that book and I would cry because I was so touched by the monster. And there would be songs that would play and I would think about him, which is totally weird. But definitely once I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that's when I knew I was like, okay, I'm gonna definitely major in English because that was just a game changer for me. So Mary Shelley and Paulo Coelho for me. We are all
lovely. I share Rhoda's obsession with Octavia Butler. The first time I read Kindred, I was like, I didn't know literature could do this. Like, I love it. It's beautiful. As Kathleen says, there's, you know, I'm an English professor. Of course, like, I analyze literature for a living, but like, then there's also like the living, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, at times you really do turn to, you know, those poems you studied as a sophomore or something like that, that got you through that sophomore angst, but is like also getting you through the really rough times, but not also just the tragedies, also the joy, also the good times. I'll say two writers that really excite me, and I'll tell you why. Paul Auster. I always loved Paul Auster. I came across him when I was writing my dissertation about 9/11 and Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. And Paul Auster is obsessed with old men. Old men who seemingly have outlived their usefulness, but they sort of have like, you know, it's like, what do you do when it seems like you've outlived your usefulness? And I've been obsessed with that. And then of course, I don't want to be like the typical English major obsessed with her, but there's a reason a lot of English majors are obsessed with Toni Morrison. I think Toni Morrison taught us all a lot about how to get outside of ourselves and to really experience somebody else's really, really traumatic experience. So yeah, Toni Morrison, absolutely. So, but also don't forget Paul Auster's Old Men. They're really interesting.
That's great.
Other questions? And of course, Mary Shelley. Who doesn't love Mary Shelley? We're all that monster.
Any other questions you guys may have? Okay, well, again, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Joseph. And guys, have a good weekend, and I'll pass it over to Jessica.
Can't wait to see you all in our classes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for hosting.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
A huge round of applause
Thank
for
you.
the presenters.
Yes.
Virtual. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful way to close out Explore Your Major Week. We thank you very much for putting this together and for the meaningful conversation that you brought to our group this afternoon. So we cannot thank you enough. And for all of our students here, thank you all so much. We hope that you enjoyed the week's festivities. We will be following up with the full website with all the recordings, handouts, all of it. So you can reflect on this week and be able to review it on your own time as well. But we'll close things off here. And again, thank you to everyone. We hope that you have an amazing weekend and have a great rest of your day.
Have a
Bye,
great
everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.